Welcome back, my friends, to another episode of #EverythingIsSexist, wherein I chronicle myself witnessing various atrocities and tragedies, all while recording the constant decline in my will to live on a planet wherein the hypocrisy has become shameless and the sexism near palpable. Oof, yes. I'm your host, Weebo Jones, and this is an episode of #EverythingIsSexist, wherein we will be talking about the debacle between Amber Heard and Johnny Depp, and the implications of a case such as this.
Let the demonetization process begin!
We're gonna get into my commentary on the whole matter in a minute, or several, but first we have to dive into some deep background lore type nonsense in order for you to actually grasp and fully understand what it is that we're dealing with here. So sit back, enjoy the ride, and watch as the mini-me, Weebo, takes it away. So take it away.
The two met on the set of The Rum Diary in 2011, and little over a year later they'd begun living together. Engagement rumors began flying soon after in 2014, with a small civil ceremony to follow in 2015. At first, the only issues the couple faced were a fraud fiasco involving their dogs and the Australian government.
When you disrespect Australian law, they will tell you firmly.
I am truly sorry that Pistol and Boo were not declared. Protecting Australia is important.
Declare everything when you enter Australia.
Along with the typical shenanigans regarding relationship age gaps in Hollywood. Old news. However, as early as May 25th of 2016, legitimate trouble began brewing for the short-lived couple. Initially, on May 25th, Heard would file for divorce from her husband, citing irreconcilable differences as the reason. She also sought for spousal support to the tune of $50,000 a month from Depp. It would be only a mere 2 days later, on May 27th, that Heard would secure a restraining order against Depp for, quote, emotional, verbal, and physical abuse, end quote, after appearing in court with photographic evidence of a bruise on her face and broken bottles and picture frames littering the floor. She reported all this had occurred in a fight the Saturday prior. Heard's report alleges that Depp had an alcohol and drug problem that contributed to the alleged abuse. The statement reportedly included an eyewitness account from Raquel Pennington, who supported Heard's claims against Depp, as well as 2 prior domestic incidences within the past 6 months. On May 29th, 2016, Doug Stanhope, a friend of Depp, wrote a column claiming that Depp was the victim in this situation, and that he had been a victim of Heard's abuse and manipulations now for years, without anyone willing to step up and speak to him about it. Because of this opinion being published for all the world to see, Doug Stanhope would be served a defamation lawsuit along with 20 other unnamed defendants in June of that year for claiming Heard was blackmailing Depp. The next day, May 30th, Depp's 17-year-old daughter Lily Rose would defend her father from the allegations on Instagram, emphasizing the key details from LAPD that they'd found no proof of any crimes and certainly not any proof that Depp had abused Heard. In addition, she made a post speaking to her father's character as a loving and sweet, kind man. Said posts have since been taken down from social media, but it should be also noted that even Depp's ex chimed in to support the accused Depp. June 7th, 2016, USA Today would publish an article after having confirmed from Seattle-Tacoma International Airport in Washington that Heard had been arrested by Port of Seattle police on September 14th, 2009 for misdemeanor assault in the 4th degree / domestic violence of her then-girlfriend Taisha Van Ree after a skirmish with her at said airport. Heard was arrested, her mugshot taken, her case was assigned a number, and she appeared in Seattle court on September 15th of that same year. Van Ree insisted, however, that Heard was wrongfully accused by officers and that the incident had been blown out of proportion. Now it is such that prosecutors declined to file criminal charges in the case, but in November of 2011 a request to delete the arrest information on the case was filed with the police, and it was thus deleted from their systems. However, Van Ree had this to say, quote, "I recall hints of misogynistic attitudes towards us, which later appeared to be homophobic when they found out we were domestic partners and not just friends. It's disheartening that Amber's integrity and story are being questioned yet again. Amber is a brilliant, honest, and beautiful woman, and I have the utmost respect for her. We shared 5 wonderful years together and remain close to this day. And 3 days later, on June 10th of 2016, the openly gay and now retired arresting officer of Amber Heard, Beverly Leonard, had this to say on Facebook: "I am so not homophobic or misogynistic. The arrest was made because an assault occurred. I witnessed it, and the parties were in a domestic relationship." Meanwhile, on June 8th of 2016, Io Tillett Wright would publish an essay to Refinery 29 entitled "Why I Called 911," detailing the mindset that eventually would culminate into her calling the police the night of May 21st, 2016, wherein the LAPD had found no evidence of any abuse. August 12th, TMZ would publish the following video depicting an interaction between Heard and Depp in an incident that had occurred months prior to the May 21st incident.
Motherfucker! Motherfucker!
What happened? What happened? Nothing happened this morning, you know that?
Were you in here?
No.
So then nothing happened to you this morning.
Yeah, you're right. I just woke up and you were so sweet and nice. We were not even fighting this morning. All I did was say sorry.
Did something happen to you this morning? I don't think so.
No, that's the thing.
You want to see crazy? I'll give you fucking crazy. That's crazy. Oh, you're crazy. Oh, you're crazy.
Have you drunk this whole thing this morning?
Oh, you got this going. You got this going?
I just started it.
Oh, really? Really?
3 days later, August 15th, TMZ would be the first to report on Depp's severed finger, according to Heard. It had been done by Depp himself in a fit of rage during an incident in March of 2015, following which she alleged he had written things such as Billy Bob and Easy Amber on the mirror in blue paint using said severed finger. Then on August 16th, the actors reached a settlement, with Heard filing documents withdrawing her request for a domestic violence restraining order against Depp in exchange for $7 million in divorce settlement, the entirety of which, she stated, would be given to charity. September 7th of that year, Heard would drop her lawsuit against Stanhope as well, once again citing as proof that she had not made the allegations for financial gain the fact that she would be donating funds to charity. On November 25th of that same year, Heard spoke up in a video about domestic violence without specifically mentioning Depp or the allegations in accordance with said settlement they had agreed to.
How is this happening to me? You know, I'm strong, smart. I'm not a victim to my detriment. I guess there was a lot of shame attached to that label of victim. It happens to so many women, you know, when it happens in your home behind closed doors with someone you love, it's not this straightforward. If a stranger did this, you know, as it was pointed out to me, if a stranger did this, it would be a no-brainer. It's the telling someone safe is the beginning of choosing yourself. I really, think about it. If I hadn't had that, if I hadn't had a few people that I really trust around me, a few women support, a few friends, if I hadn't had them around me, how different my life would be. Just as a woman, having gone through this in the public stage, in the public arena that I did it, and I have a unique opportunity to remind other women, not only that this doesn't have to be the way it is, you don't have to do it alone, you're not alone, and also we can change this. Violence against women is not limited to actual physical violence. It is also about how we deal with it and how we talk about it in the media and in our culture. And us taking responsibility for it is what really needs to change. We need to take responsibility for how we talk about these things. It's the only way that people are going to feel comfortable in coming forward, raising their voices, standing up for themselves, is if we change the system in place that keeps them quiet. Speak up. Speak up. Raise your voice. Your voice is the most powerful thing, and we, together, as women standing shoulder to shoulder, cannot and will not any longer accept silence.
This was amidst controversy that Depp hadn't yet paid up the $7 million in the settlement that he owed Heard. Why? Because Depp claimed that Heard had breached the terms of the settlement in breaking confidentiality. This recent debacle gave lawyers new fodder to go after each other about. Finally, on January 13th of 2017, the divorce between Depp and Heard was finalized. Unfortunately, the debacle does not end here. Rather, the rabbit hole evens out a bit before taking a massive dip once again. The couple would not see each other again until Comic-Con in July of 2018. But just because there's a confidentiality order hanging over the two actors' heads like the sword of Damocles, doesn't mean everyone else hushes up about the allegations altogether. Oh no. Articles are written in the following months of their divorce finalization, wasting no time in capitalizing on unsubstantiated allegations for the sake of clickbait. The lawsuit between Depp and his former management team over money squabbles unveils that his management team had been, quote, told about the abuse through house staff and security, and was made aware of the kicking incident that occurred in or around 2014, end quote. In November of 2017, the announcement that Depp will play Grindelwald in the upcoming Fantastical Beasts saga continuation is met with backlash from its fanbase. J.K. Rowling, author and creator of all of the intellectual property related to Harry Potter and its wizarding world, rises to Depp's defense, standing by the casting, and subsequently being ridiculed for said stance. In May of 2018, it's reported that Depp has drunkenly attacked a crew member on the set of The Labyrinth in an incident that amounted to a nothing burger. Meanwhile, Heard, who had begun dating Tesla's Elon Musk in December of 2016, suffered a breakup with the billionaire in August of 2017, due to certain aspects of her behavior that rang a bit too selfish and manipulative for Musk's tastes, according to sources. In April of 2018, the actress donated her divorce settlement to a children's hospital as she had promised all the way back in 2016. And then, just after their run-in at Comic-Con in August of 2018, Mirror stirred the pot with an article reporting the infamous April 2016 birthday incident had involved Heard defecating in their marital bed after Depp had arrived 2 hours late to her 30th birthday party. Heard alleged that the fecal matter, however, was left by their dog, Boo. This was the incident in question that led to the May 2016 incident. The housekeeper found the sheets the morning after their disagreement, and reportedly the matter in question was entirely too big to belong to a dog of that size. And then things grew quiet on the front of the estranged actors, until October of 2018. October 2nd saw the publication of this GQ article, wherein Depp defends himself against Heard's accusations, and in a follow-up Newsweek article, Depp's lawyers assert that Depp himself is a victim of violent abuse. Following the statement, the lawyer, Adam Waldman, stated that starting November, court proceedings would begin regarding those new allegations wherein Depp's team would submit evidence, supporting the narrative that Heard faked her own allegations against Depp, and will present clear evidence of the violence committed serially against him by Ms. Heard and the serious injuries that he suffered. Following that, the Incredible Women Gala, hosted by Porter Magazine on October 9th of 2018, saw Heard give the following speech related to her ugly 2016 divorce from Depp.
Just to give you some context, I wrote this letter myself. It was an open letter to my silent sisters. I wrote this about over 2 years ago when I was going through some of the most painful and difficult times in my life. At the time, my voice was alone. It was one that certainly felt alone. And Porter Magazine ran this open letter when it was perhaps most difficult to do so. For that reason, I feel deeply honored to be here sharing a space with so many brave, powerful women, and I just wanted to take a moment to say how much I appreciate it. Also, crazy how relevant these words are today, 2.5 years later. To my silent sisters, you are not alone. Many of you have suffered alone behind closed doors, but you are not alone. You need to know that. I want to remind you of your strength. It's a strength that is multiplied by the countless number of women who stand silently behind you. This is a truth that allowed me to break down the doors I once found myself behind. So let's start with the truth, the cold, hard truth. When a woman comes forward to speak about her suffering, about injustice, instead of aid, respect, and support, she will be met with hostility, skepticism, and shame. Her motives will be questioned, and her truth will be ignored. No matter how terrible or terrifying surviving trauma may be, truth is, it can pale in comparison to what follows after. It's no wonder so many of us feel like we have to keep quiet or risk our own safety to try to maintain our dignity by quietly enduring. The fear of being ostracized from your community is just about the most terrifying prospect that there is. But I'm here to tell you, there's no need to make that terrible trade. It isn't easy to raise your voice, to stand up for yourself or your truth, and to do it alone. But our world is changing. Standing shoulder to shoulder as women, we comprise a vast army of voices, and we can no longer accept silence. I was raised to be independent and self-reliant. I was never given nor wanted the burden of dependency. So naturally, I resented the label of victim, as I'm sure many of you here in this room today can understand. You, like me, don't see yourself as a victim, but rather as a member of a growing class of women, daughters of a generation of equality. We have inherited far too much to be resigned to injustice, and together.
And then, in December, the Aquaman actress alleged that she had been blacklisted in Hollywood and received death threats for the allegations she leveled against Depp in a WashPo op-ed. Which brings us to January 2019. It comes out that Depp allegedly had uncovered evidence from Eastern Columbia building security camera video, along with eyewitness statements, newly discovered sworn affidavits, and deposition transcripts from 2016, and text messages between the Sun and their #MeToo sources, supporting claims that he in fact did not physically abuse Heard to be revealed in a defamation lawsuit against the UK tabloid newspaper The Sun, which had published an article in April the year prior calling Depp a wife-beater. Then in March of 2019, Depp launched his defamation lawsuit against Heard to the tune of $50 million in damages for the unsubstantiated allegations. April 2019, Heard, represented by Time's Up legal defense Fund co-founder Roberta Kaplan, outlined specific instances of abuse over the course of their relationship, wherein Depp would turn into the monster whenever he was using intoxicants. May 2019, Depp alleges that in 2015, Heard had attacked him after being asked to sign a post-nuptial agreement, leading to the incident where he lost the tip of his finger from a flying vodka bottle Heard had thrown at him. He alleges that she committed innumerable acts of violence against him after mixing numerous prescription amphetamines and non-prescription drugs with alcohol. He further iterates that the defecation incident of April 21st, 2016, was a prank done by Heard and her friends. July of 2019, Depp alleges that Heard had put out a cigarette on his face 1 month after their wedding in March of 2015. October 2019, Depp is ordered to release a record pertaining to his alcohol and drug use, along with other related medical documents. Elon Musk, whom the lawsuit alleges Heard was cheating on Depp with at the end of their marriage, is amongst a host of others deposed in the lawsuit as things begin to heat up. In November of 2019, Depp failed to submit drug and alcohol reports, moving the date of the lawsuit back by 6 months to August of 2020. December of 2019, it comes out that there is an eyewitness to Heard's father threatening to kill Depp during their ugly divorce, and substantiates the claims of abuse towards Depp from Heard. This brings us up to January 2020, where new audio recordings are released to the public.
After you fucking got physically violent with me, I texted Travis, I said, come up here, because I didn't want anything to happen.
I mean, yeah.
It's coming to what? Save me?
No, go ahead. Continue. You, Travis to the rescue.
No, that was the last one. You can go, you go. That was the last insult.
Oh yeah, you called me a liar, and yet.
I watched you lie.
You called me a liar.
I watched you lie. I heard it. I was right there.
There's no what. You still haven't told me what lie it is. But yet, every single fucking time.
You know you
do this every single fucking time.
We'll talk to Travis.
I'm not fucking talking to nobody.
No,
fuck that. You go fucking jerk him off. I don't care. I really could care less. It's you every single time. You latch onto some sort of thing. When I already told you, I don't know what you're fucking talking about. You don't even know what you're talking about. You still haven't even told me what it is. But run with it.
I have told you what it is.
No, you haven't.
I said to Travis, I said to you, hey, tell Travis what just happened.
You told me to do it. You told me to. You said, go do that.
I said, no, tell him what just happened.
And I lied.
And that you punched me in the fucking thing. And you
figured
in
it
the face.
out.
And you said, no, fucking, no, I didn't. What the fuck are you talking about? And I watched you lie. And then I
didn't punch you, by the way. I'm sorry that I didn't hit you across the face in a proper slap, but I was hitting you. It was not punching you. Babe, you're not punched.
Don't tell me what it feels like to be punched.
You know, even a lot of fights been around a long time. I know. Yeah,
no, when you fucking have a closed fist.
You get punched. You got hit. I'm sorry I hit you like this, but I did not punch you. I did not fucking deck you. I fucking was hitting you.
You can't.
I don't know what the motion of my actual hand was, but you're fine. I did not hurt you. I did not punch you. I was hitting you.
How are your toes?
What am I supposed to do? Do this?
How are your toes?
I'm not sitting here bitching about it, am I? You are.
Oh,
that's the difference between me and you. You're a fucking baby.
Because you start physical fights?
You're such a baby! Grow the fuck up,
Because you start physical fights?
I did start a physical fight.
Yeah, you did, so I had to get the fuck out of there.
Yes, you did. So you did the right thing, the big thing. You know what? You're admirable. Every single time. What's your excuse? When there's not a physical fight, then what's the excuse there? You're still being admirable, right? Just by running away?
I lost a fucking finger, man. Come on. I had a mineral can of mineral spirits thrown at my nose.
You can please tell people that it was a fair fight and see what the jury and judge thinks. Tell the world, Johnny. Tell them, Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, man, I'm a victim too of domestic violence, and yes. It's a fair fight. And see how many people believe or side with you. And yes. It's a fair fight. And see how many people believe or side with you.
It doesn't matter if it's a fair fight. My ass.
Exactly, because you're bigger and you're stronger. And so when I say that I thought you could kill me, that doesn't mean you counter with you also that you lost your own finger. I am not trying to attack you here. I'm just trying to point out the fact of why I said call 911. Because you had your hands on me after you threw a phone in my face, and it got crazy in the past, and I truly thought I need to stop this madness before I get hurt.
Oh my God.
And I never think about myself that way. I never defend myself that way. I never see myself as a victim and to a fault,
All right. Yeah.
And I when they came, I did not cooperate with them. It has been used against me, not by the media, by your side. Who said, look...
What do you mean? Where's the media? It's all out in the media. Why is my...
TMZ, don't even know it? Oh, I mean, well, I was at the courthouse while TMZ is posting things. At the courthouse, while I'm at the courthouse, they're posting things about the cops never coming, right? Then we provide proof. Then they say, oh, well, just one set of police officers. Then they retract their story, but they don't actually retract it like an objective media source would. No, what do? They just come out with a new lie. They go, oh, well, it was just one pair of cops, and she said it was two. And I said, no, here's the proof. We just subpoenaed the building for the actual security records to prove that was wrong. Okay, then what did they do? They came out with a new lie, a different lie. Okay, well, it was this. It was this. I mean, every step of the way I've had to take has been because that news source is in Marty's pocket. In Laura, like, that's what Laura's...
But I'm telling you now, if they file the papers tomorrow, which means this got to file before we go to court on Friday. If they file those papers, it's, first of all, it's very bad for both of us, okay?
Well, your team's not going to file anything that they think is bad for you, trust me.
No, you're what you're saying, you got to do something to protect yourself, which means throwing me under the bus for some video about me beating you.
Not me. I have to respond legally, meaning I'll have to go and pursue I have to pursue the whole course of action, because here's what you don't understand. If we do this, and basically, we'll know, because I called my lawyers and I said, why aren't we negotiating more? What is going on? Where are we? And they're like, everything is in their court. We literally...
they won't settle. Your agents won't, your lawyers won't settle, baby, I'm telling you.
No, we want to mediate. We even found mediators and everything. Like, that was all worked out. The thing that Laura didn't agree to was she did not want to agree to a mutual gag order. And that's the problem. Like, she doesn't want the gag order. Why, Johnny? Why? Why wouldn't she? Why wouldn't she want both parties to not talk about this in the press? By the way, just talking about the press, not even talking about the court.
Okay,
Why?
I tell you what, Amber, let me get on that right now. I'll get on it right now, and I'll get a message back to you somehow. Just but I'll get on it right now.
I just want you to know, I'm not doing anything and have not been doing any moves. Like, look it up, the timeline. Nothing was on the offense. Everything has been a defensive move because I'm being called a liar and a gold digger. And I'm not lying about any of this. And I am not after a dime of your money.
March 2020 comes around, and the deposition for Amber Heard back in 2016 of this case specifically is released to the general public. Now, I would play all 12 minutes of this for you in this video, but that would be an abysmal amount of time. I know you don't want to be here for that long. I certainly don't. And so I will just link it in the description like I've been linking everything else thus far in the description, so you can listen to the deposition for yourself if you so choose.
We find ourselves here in April of 2020, a solid 9 years after the beginning of the relationship back in 2011, and the most recent developments have cast a distinctively opposite perspective to that of 2018, wherein we find a number of people ready and willing to cancel actor Johnny Depp for unsubstantiated allegations of domestic abuse. One of these developments is from the mouth of Heard's own private eye, who could not for the life of him find a single corroborating witness to Depp's character supporting the allegations that he is in fact a wife-beater. Quite the opposite, in fact. Furthermore, there have been 2 separate petitions issued. The first, a petition to remove Amber Heard from Aquaman 2, signed by over 407,000 people. The second, to remove Amber Heard as L'Oreal's spokesperson, signed by over 13,000 people, as of the day of recording this video. Finally, it's come out that Heard will be testifying in this case behind closed doors, meaning that despite the fact that everything thus far has been put on blast for the entirety of the world to witness, from depositions, to allegations, to recordings, and accounts from friends of either side, we will not be permitted beyond the doors of this case to listen in on what has already been a very public debacle. Alright, background over. That was a lot, and now for my commentary. Switch it back over to live action Weebo. Please and thank you.
Thank you, Mini-Me. I think it says something that within one of the audio recordings that we have this line from Amber Heard.
Tell the world, Johnny. Tell them, Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, man, I'm a victim too of domestic violence, and
yes.
It's a fair fight. And see how many people believe or side with you.
It's a pretty damning line, in my opinion, and it speaks to the level of manipulation that Heard is capable of. You'd have to be living under a rock to not be aware of the fact that domestic abuse, violence, although not a gendered issue, is treated as such, unfortunately. Again and again, we have these stories of men who are too afraid to come forward with their stories for fear of being ridiculed or not believed, and it's a problem. I mean, take this FAQ that I found on Women's Aid Federation of Northern Ireland. This FAQ took its sweet time in answering a very simple question, that being, can women be perpetrators of domestic violence? And after we get past the unnecessary, I would think, disclaimers of, quote, majority cases men perpetrate, and, quote, existence of patriarchal views that encourage men to believe that they are entitled to power and control, we finally arrive at an actual answer after dragging our feet ad nauseum in this, quote, it is becoming increasingly recognized that men can and do experience violence from female partners, and domestic violence can also happen in lesbian relationships. As if that were a question, at all. What? What? The fact that that question is part of an FAQ on a domestic violence website geared towards women, to me, is ridiculous. A ridiculous notion. Absolutely, positively ridiculous. Because it speaks to this willful ignorance that people have about women, that they are not just slaves of the human condition the same as men are. You know that human condition. The one where we're all cursed to walk the earth and experience life and its multitude of emotions and undignifying effects, and are capable of making all of the same mistakes as everyone else who has ever walked this earth, and our neighbors and our brothers and sisters and parents and grandparents and whoever the fuck else. It should be such a no-brainer that everyone is just as capable of violence as the next person down the line that makes this question the most ridiculous one that I have ever come across. And sure, there is a disproportionate number of male perpetrators in statistical documentation regarding domestic violence. Okay, but let's not forget that statistics also tell us that there are a large number of male victims who admit to being afraid to speak out on their own, for their own well-being, who remain silent, who struggle in silence because they would not be believed, or because they would be perceived as less masculine if they happened to report that they were being abused. So those numbers, they won't be accounted for in the previously cited who's the majority perpetrator data that I just discussed. Which brings me back to this quote.
Tell the world, Johnny. Tell them, Johnny Depp. Johnny Depp, man, I'm a victim too of domestic violence, and
yes.
It's a fair fight. And see how many people believe or side with you.
I find this to be such a disgusting statement, but it is a reality. Because the case of Johnny Depp versus Amber Heard is a representative example of this issue in our society. Full stop. A domestic violence scandal from all the way back in 2016 is only just now hearing testimonies and recordings from over 4 years ago, forcing a walkback of a host of claims that have been made, of a whole bunch of conclusions that have been drawn, effectively giving the world a new lens to look at it from. And I think it's great that now we at least have a more full picture, that we're getting a full story, but it took a goddamn long-ass time and too much heartache to get to this point. Don't you agree? We can do better. We should be doing better. We have to do better to encourage men to come forward with their stories. Men should not be afraid to come forward with those instances of abuse that they are suffering, and we should take them just as seriously as any women's story. And they should know that we're going to take them just as seriously. I mean, it's only fair, right?